It's finally happened, guys. Stallion Confidential's first guest out here. Let's lock in. Today we have a beast in the building. 10 plus years in the sale game, a master of persuasion. The guy who can fix your credit in an instant. Fund your businesses at 0%. Book luxury travel just for free. Might as well. And still make it back in time to close your deals before you finish your lunch. He's been in rooms that you dream of, touch credit limits people can't even pronounce. And if you ever wondered how to turn being broke into being booked, this man right here is your blueprint. Welcome to the podcast, the credit king, the deal closer, Trey Debney. Well, follow this man to get access on your screen right now. Trey, where can people find you?
Instagram at Trey Debney and X at Clean Credit Play.
If you just don't follow him, you're basically missing out. And this podcast, you're going to find out what have been kept from you, what have you been missing out, and how this man can basically change your credit game and finesse and make you into a James Bond. So,
wow, quite an intro.
I know I exaggerated a little bit.
I'm excited to be here, man.
How did you make your way into this specific niche?
It just kind of fell into place. I was just going through the life motions, just doing the things in my day to day, and credit was always a part of everybody's lives, right? Everybody's attached to a credit score. I mean, if you're breathing, you have a score, right? So, it just kind of fell in my lap, and one thing led to another, and here I am today.
But why credit card niche though? Like, did something motivated you to take the step, or was it like, okay, I think people are not informed enough in this category, let me go out, make a name for myself in this, or you just wanted to help people? Which one was it?
It's a bit of everything. I've always been the type to want to help people, right? Like I said, I just found that everyone's attached to a credit score, and I had to go out and fix my own credit, and I just kind of thought about it a little bit more, and I was like, okay, I could turn this into a business. It excited me. Why can't it excite other people?
I see. So from that note, was there any mistake that you made while getting yourself into it, like in your college days or in your high school days? Tell us more about it.
Not doing it soon enough. I think it's a topic that's not highly talked about, right? So a lot of people usually put off their credit until they're 50 or old and dying, you know what I mean? Like, no one really thinks about it until they need to actually use credit. So I think the biggest mistake I had was just not learning about it sooner, right? I genuinely feel like it's a under-discussed topic. It's not brought up in schools. It's not brought up in traditional educational systems. So you just kind of have to figure it out yourself. And usually people figure it out when they need it and they can't get something that they want.
They definitely don't, firstly, because all these brokies out there watching this video have lost their credit. But buying their girlfriend their cars, their jewelry, fancy handbags, guess what? Now you're indebted. How can a person who's that stupid can get out of that?
I think it goes more into the educational aspect of it, really understanding the basics. And if I'm being quite honest, credit is just numbers, right? It's kind of boring. So I think it's very, very important to attach visualization to it, like have an end goal. For me, it was travel. That's what sparked my whole interest in the whole thing. And since I was able to remove myself from the boring numbers, statements, banking, it's all boring stuff, right? I looked at it and visualized myself as, traveling in suites, traveling in first class, driving nicer cars. That excited me. So I took it out of the boring and made it fun.
Gotcha. First class, traveling, a sense of freedom, you'd say.
Yeah.
How can a person or a guy who's like fresh out of high school can follow and live that dream? Because I'm sure a lot of these people are watching. They love to travel. They love that sense of freedom. They can go anywhere they want without having to worry actually about if I'm doing the right thing, if I'm overpaying for it, if they're going to take advantage of me. Because I'm sure there are a lot of loopholes that you discovered on the way.
Absolutely.
Tell us more about it.
I mean, you can go down the rabbit hole, right? So for me, like I said, I think travel was the biggest catalyst for me. And I think what you want to do is just start with the basics. Because a lot of people get excited about the end results and they try to achieve things more than they're capable of, right? So if you can't handle the basics, you can't handle the advanced stuff. So I think don't look for the craziest loopholes. Don't look for ways to change the game for yourself. Start with the minor stuff, like understand like your cash flow statement, understand how credit works, understand paying on time, understand the utilization, age, like just understand the basics. Start there.
It's like basically starting boxing. You're not gonna learn hooks and jabs and pivot unless you learn jab and cross first,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
Gotcha. So, Trey, I know you've been traveling a lot, and I know you have a lot of experience in like different vacation hotels, like credit cards, Amex, and people dream of having that sound when they have their Amex Platinum.
Right.
Does it really live up to its reputation, or it's like it's just one of those things that you hear about it and you want it, but when you have it, you're like, oh, it's just another day.
Well, to me, I'm kind of jaded to it, right? I've been around it for a while,
Yeah.
but I do firmly believe it'll give you a sense of prestige. When you pay the bill, people look at you different. If they see you pull out an Amex, you will highly like people will look at you from a higher position. Absolutely,
Does that apply to chicks?
absolutely.
Has something happened to you and she's like, oh my god, you have an Amex?
No, I mean no one blatantly says it, right? No one's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, you have an Amex Platinum." No one says that,
Yeah.
right? It's not a normal interaction, but if you go to the bar, if you're actually paying attention, right, people will treat you different. A server will treat you different. Girls will look at you different. Guys will look at you different because they don't understand what it takes to get an Amex Platinum. So it's completely out of range for them.
Wow.
Right? So
Yeah.
when you actually pull out a prestigious card, people will treat you different. Absolutely.
Is that the only one out there, or does it have its rival?
I would say the next comparable card to the Platinum would probably be the Chase Sapphire Reserve. So I think that is a more obtainable card. I think people don't typically understand how the Platinum works to fullest capability. It isn't a credit card, so it's a charge card. So it is a little bit different, and I believe that might turn some people off because people aren't used to different, right? So they kind of do the safer bet, but most people that I know, they will actually go to the Chase Sapphire Preferred and not the Reserve. And I would argue you want the best of the best.
Best of the best, right?
Yeah.
What's I'm sure you had both of them.
Yes.
What's the big difference that you noticed?
So with the Reserve, you'll get more benefits. So a lot of people argue that okay, I don't want to pay the annual. The annual is like $550. It could change by the time somebody's watching this, but let's say $550, right? A lot of people that scares them off. So they're like, I don't want to pay $550 a year for an annual fee. But the Reserve will actually give you a $300 credit. So now that $550 is $250, and I can guarantee you're spending more than $250 a year on some other bullshit, right? Like you probably spend that in a weekend at the club on drinks. Right. So it just doesn't make sense to me when people are scared about the annual fees. Like it just doesn't math in my brain. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, definitely. But also, like one of the things I was learning from you, because even you told me there's a way around it, like even the annual fee for some reason, they have retention offers and all of that. But as someone who came out of high school at 17, 18, I really looked up to Amex. I just thought like, oh my god, what's the facade for this card? Why do people have it? But then I realized, like, you shouldn't get it until you made it for some reason. So in a way of like when you truly understand finances, how to like actually extract the total value of that card, because that $700 a year, I found after 2 years, and when I talked to you as well, that it offers much more than that annual fee,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
Like all you get entries to all of these networking places and some special reserve for platinum members and the airport lounges and all that. How have you noticed like Amex's like services versus a Chase services are so different or sort of similar in any way?
I think both cards are great, and I mean I'm biased. I would say get all the cards, right? You want to maximize as much value as you possibly can where you can. So I think one place to start is instead of looking at price, look at value. You have to be able to see what value you can extract from the card that you're getting.
Correct.
So a lot of people say the Amex Platinum's a very expensive card,
Yeah.
right? But if you look at all the credits, that value comes to you tenfold. I'll give you one example. So status is a whole thing within the travel industry, right? So if you have status at a certain type of hotel, like let's say Marriott, for example.
Yeah.
The Platinum will give you gold status. And if you look it up, gold status is worth $3,000. So you're already getting the value.
Write it down, boys. That's how you do it.
Exactly.
That's how you do it.
You're already getting 3 times the value of the actual card's annual fee. That's not including credits. That's not including discounts. That's not including other status perks that you get. That's not including using the credit card. So you're getting a lot more value. So a lot of people get stuck in that price range. So you got to completely change your mindset on that. You can't look at the price. You got to look at what you're actually receiving from the card.
Gotcha. Because there's one difference. I'm sure, like, you've worked in sales before. I worked in sales before. There's a difference between price and cost.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yep.
Tell our audience more about it, because I know you guys don't know anything. All you do is scroll on Instagram on Reels. How about you get some actual value?
Price and cost. So price is what something is worth. Cost is what I believe it's in the back end. So what is it actually costing you to not buy that item? Right? So what is it actually costing you to not get an Amex Platinum? So I'm all about unrealized gains, right? So these are things that you might not understand right away in the sense of looking at a trip. So like if you were to book a room, right, the price of the room is probably $200-$300. But if you can use status to multiply that, right, what is it actually costing you to not get that suite? Because you can use the suite for marketing. You can use it to get girls if you want. You can use it to have business meetings or whatever. So what is it actually costing you to not get that room, not get that card, not get that status? What is it actually costing you? People get caught up on the price.
Gotcha. For some reason, would you say, like, because that lifestyle, I'm sure is a dream for some people out there. Does it get boring? Does it get hectic sometimes? Or would you just want to be grounded and be like, okay, I just want to take a day off. I want to stay at home, chill with the family, chill with my dog or whatever.
I wouldn't say it gets boring. There's always levels to it and you can always keep going up, right? Like traveling for free is like the first aspect of it. When you start having networks, meeting people and having crazy experiences, there's always levels to it.
Correct.
Right? So I wouldn't say it's boring at all. No.
No, right? Yeah. Bro's living the dream life. Never gets boring, especially at an aircraft. Maybe you'll run into some nice air stewardess. Because it happened to me when I was traveling a lot last year. I ran into the same girl 3 times.
Yeah, you never know. It's funny actually running into people at the airport, getting recognized, going into lounges and staff. Like it's kind of funny because it's not a normal thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I recommend that. And when you kind of go to places that are common, like places you commonly go to, like let's say it's a hotel, they'll treat you better. They'll give you hookups. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
The staff will treat you better as long as you're polite to them. Right.
I'd say so. And also, the other thing I observed, when you walk into a room with a pretty girl, oh my God, the eyes on you, right. the staff treats you better, the front desk lady, the janitor, like why do you think that affects like all of these hotels and stuff like that? Because I've lived alone at hotels and lounges, but when you walk into with a prestige, like a treasure or something, like Bio-Arm, people just like, wow. What do you think that is? I know it's a little off topic, but
no, it's a good question. I think it's a psychological thing. I think it's something that people can't comprehend. People are naturally drawn to something that they may not want or they may not be able to have. Right? People want what they can't have, so it just makes it interesting. It's like, well, okay, if you walk in with a pretty girl, you look at him and you're like, well, what did he have to do to get this girl? Like, why don't I have this pretty girl? So then they start putting a story in their head together. So it just makes it super interesting.
Write down, boys. That's how you play the game. Don't blame the player. Blame the game. That's the way to go. Less than 3 sentence or under. How would you say you can travel for free?
How would I say I could travel for free? Credit cards come with perks, and you can utilize those perks to obtain free rooms outside of just points.
Gotcha. You know how you know that? Because you studied.
I studied.
Well, so what are some common traps in credit card offers that people don't know about?
Getting bad credit cards. Just because you get pre-approved for a card doesn't necessarily mean it's a good card. So a lot of people will get mail-in offers from shitty banks. and just apply for those cards, and those cards have hidden fees or whatever, right? So I think just not actually doing the research.
Mm. But also, is there a thing like a credit card if you're informed enough?
I mean, I think
like a bad credit card if you're informed enough?
yeah, I mean, you can work the credit cards, and I think the issue with that is just information. So people are getting bad information. They might be getting good information, but I think misinformation is a huge issue, right? Like a lot of people are getting credit card information from maybe like, let's say, their parents, and I'm sure you've heard this before. It's hey, credit cards are bad, stay away from them.
Yeah.
Because maybe their parents got fucked by credit, right?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
So it might be just misinformation. So people just have this wrong idea of credit cards.
Even I was talking to my dad the other day, and the way I was following your Telegram and the amounts and sums of value you have in that. Let's talk about the cancellation. When you get cancelled, that's how you know you made it. And this man right over here dropped such a gem of a knowledge that they took his account down. What happened?
That's a good question. I'm still trying to figure that out myself. So, I mean, I post daily, right? So I post across all my platforms, but for whatever reason, Telegram, and it's no shade to them, right? But for whatever reason, they took my account down. I tried to appeal it, got no response. The only thing that they had told me, and I had some members in my community tell me like, hey, look, it's saying you're promoting something illegal, which I'm definitely not. That's all the answer I got. So I don't know. I'm still trying to figure that one out. So.
Man, these people out there. But sticking to this topic, I talked to my dad, but then I started following your Telegram channel and how you talked about getting all the cards you can possibly and getting all the points and the perks so you can travel for free, go to places for free, and get into rooms that you wouldn't get into otherwise. And I showed him this, and like, okay, there's another strategy for it, because he was always against it, like the traditional mindset. When you're not informed enough about it, you're like, oh, annual fee, you don't know how to actually extract value from it. And slowly and steadily, I put him on your channel, and then he's like, damn, this guy's dropping some gem of a knowledge. Like, I
appreciate that.
He knows what he's talking about, because you frame your words and your Telegram posts, daily posts, in such a way that it would make sense for dummies like me. And thank you for that one.
No problem.
Yeah. But if you could design the perfect credit card for young adults, what outrageous perks would it have?
Unlimited money.
That's a dream, right?
I don't think there's any perfect credit card. So going back to what you said, like, I think you want to have all the cards, because if you have all the cards, you have different angles that you can approach things from. So there's no actual best card, because everyone's lifestyle is different. So it's subjective.
Yeah.
Right? So,
it's like saying like, oh, what's the best chick you can get?
Exactly.
There isn't any.
Yeah. You might be into brunettes or blondes or whatever,
Yeah.
right? Tall, skinny, like who knows? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you might like someone who's a homebody. Some people might like who's a party animal.
Exactly.
Some people might like who's a hot model, whatever. They want to have a fling.
Right.
Call it a day. So it's like tailored down for actually what you want and what fits with your requirement.
Right. So I think if it was for me, if I had to design the perfect credit card for me, it would just give me back end status for hotels and flights, and of course unlimited money.
But how would you say your experience with credit card perks has been traveling in the first class, business class versus economy? What's the feeling that you notice when you get into first class cabins?
This is kind of a piece of advice that you could do without credit cards. If you want to get an idea of how it feels, when you get on your next flight, just sit in first class real quick, right? Just sit down, just feel the difference, absorb the energy that you're in first class. It's 100% different, right? So when you're there, you're on the plane, people leave you alone, you're private, you get on the plane quicker, you get off the plane quicker. They treat you better as far as the staff. Like, there's just so many things. So I'm huge on visualization, right? So like I said, next time you get on a flight, just sit down in first class real quick, absorb the energy, and then go to your seat.
Right. And if you don't know how to do it and how to afford a first class, follow Trent Debney. Like, just follow him on IG. He drops free value so you can finally have enough money to afford first class and feel the prestige.
I actually have a funny story about that. So I remember one of the flights I was taking, I was sitting in first. I was in a hoodie and I had my backpack. Like I looked like I shouldn't have been there, right? But I had some so like two girls had walked by and they were just talking shit, right? They're like, "Oh, must be nice to be sitting in first class. We're gonna go sit in the back with the peasants." And then I kind of chuckled because I was like, "Man, like I got this flight for free. You paid 3 times more than I did to go sit in the back," and it was just kind of unreal to me. You don't know what you don't know, right? So it's interesting. It's just interesting
that can be applied to many different things.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, okay, you can travel first class for free versus I paid sometimes $800 to $1,000 for economy peasant flight. It's fair to assume that I'm a fairly big man.
Right.
And to sit in the middle of a row, like especially when they board you the third and fourth boarding group.
Right.
I was sitting among 2 chicks while I was flying to Miami because there weren't any flights. And I finally was like, because I booked it like right off the weekend. So couldn't get the first class flight. I'm like, I'll just pay it, but there weren't any. I need a specific time, specific day. But tug it out. I'm like, okay, it's an experience. Let's just fly like a peasant and see what it feels like. Because I never book economy. Sat there, and for some reason, there are stereotypes, right? So I'm gonna go a little off topic right there. There's a stereotypes for a black woman and white chicks. So there was this white chick on my right side and a black chick on the left side. So that was the only seat. Excuse me, can I go in? She's like, oh man, I know I cute, like black accent. I know I'm cute, but I ain't that cute that you have to sit with me. I'm like, bitch, I have no other seat. Like I have to sit there. And this white woman, she goes, oh, I'm so sorry. Like you want me to scooch in? Like just get myself off in the corner so you can have more space. And this fucking bimbo, 300 pounds, was sitting like a fucking sumo wrestler. Trying to like intimidate my way in. So I asked her very politely, is it a possible way for you to scooch in? She's like, no. But the white lady gave up her seat, basically. Right. And she's like, well, if there's any other seat, I might just go there. So, but there weren't. So she sat in the center, gave me the window seat.
Wow.
Bro, like
what a mess. See, what you should have did was ask the staff if you could move up a different seat.
You know, I didn't.
I've seen it happen before.
I didn't know back then.
Yeah.
Because I didn't follow you. Now I do.
little hack, yeah. If you're just nice and you talk to the staff politely, they can get you an upgrade, man.
Right?
Yeah.
But what if there isn't? That's what they usually say.
Yeah, I mean they're not going to go out of their way to help you, right? But like I said, if you're nice, or this is a hotel trick you can do, right? You can go to a hotel and then tip the front desk person. They might swing a suite your way just because you tipped them. Like how many people actually go in there and tip them? If you think about it, no one. Everyone goes there and then they'll just be like, oh, I need my room, and they're very, very demanding. They don't talk with them. They're not polite. You know, they're probably tired from travel. But like if you separate yourself and you're a little bit different, you know, talk them up a little bit, chat with them. How's your day? You know, you look tired or whatever. You know, like you could just start a conversation and then tip them, and then they might swing you a suite upgrade. Right? Same thing with flights. You could talk to the front desk person before you hop on the flight and see if there's any seats available. You never know.
Man, this guy knows what the fuck he's doing. Damn. Okay, never thought of that.
Yeah,
I'll definitely take it.
Especially as a big guy, you could just be like, hey, look, I got no room. It's gonna be a long flight. Do you have it? You know.
Yeah. Joke, right? I'll try my best next time. So, yeah. Tipping front desk.
Yeah, or bring gift cards. Like I learned that from a guy online. It's like bring gift cards with you, like Starbucks gift card, $50, $20, whatever,
and just
hand it off.
What's the usual go to? Like, hey, I just really thought like you working hard, and I know like people usually don't do this, but I like to give a nice gesture, or like how do you approach this?
I mean, it could be. I don't personally do it. I mean, like I said, there's levels to it, right? But it's something that you can do. So I'm at the point where I could take a flight, and I usually just get upgraded. I don't have to say anything or anything like that, right? But like if you go in and like
you know how you can do it?
How?
Because you studied.
I studied, yeah. Exactly.
And you guys need to study too. So how about you follow his channel right there in the video, and I'll drop the link down below so you can actually get some free value because you're missing out. But continue.
Right. So I mean, like as a newbie, you just got to get creative, right? And that's not even related to credit. It's you're just thinking outside the box, right? So if you're traveling a lot, like I said, let's say you fly Alaska a lot and you start seeing the same staff all the time, just strike up a conversation. Remember their names. Hey, how are you? How was your week? Last time you you looked tired. Now you look very energetic. What'd you do different? Just be very genuine.
Yeah, like people love when they just can't. You can't go wrong if you be nice to them.
Right.
Like you treat others how you want to be treated yourself. So
Like, don't be weird about it. Don't be like, hey, I'm trying to bribe you to get my my upgrade. Like,
yeah.
don't do that. Just be very genuine about it.
yeah, like yeah, gotcha. We'll do that. But some people they just fucking. I've this air stewardess that I talked to like during the flight because it was a long fucking flight. And then I started asking her about her experiences, like how some people, they're drunk on the flight and they just try to say some certain stuff to get into the sky high mile. If you know, you know. And she's like, I've gotten talked a lot for that reason. And what about pilots? I'm like, I'm sure, like you're a fairly young, attractive woman. What do you think has that ever happened to you? Or if then what's the story? And she certainly told me all the pilots, well, under the age of 40, all of them are cheating on their wives.
I can imagine.
All of them are cheating on their wives, and the wives that have no clue.
I've actually heard that before.
Right?
Yeah.
So I think air hostess is number 2 on the list for most infidel
Are they?
job. Yes.
That's interesting.
Guess what's the number 1?
Doctors.
Nurses.
I've heard that too.
Yeah.
Medical field. Yeah.
Nurses. Extremely. And yeah. Well, there's a whole story about it. I'm sure I can't tell on the camera, but we'll get into that.
We could talk off camera.
Off camera, for sure. And you guys just wouldn't know. Why? Because you just haven't subscribed yet, liked, or comment, or share this video. So if you truly want to hear BTS behind the scenes, what happens, stay tuned. I might do you guys a favor. But if you could, we go over that. How can someone go from 500 credit score to 700 within a year?
Study. I mean, a year is being
how should we study though? With Blue Label, Johnny Walker, alone in the war room?
Exactly. A year is slow, man. I mean, like you can fix your credit overnight. I've seen people do
Overnight.
Like
Tell us more about it.
I've seen people jump 100, 150 points, 200 points just by tweaking their credit score just a little bit. So I would recommend to look into the 5 factors of credit, and truly understand them, because that, again, is going to help you understand the advanced plays. So a lot of people try to jump to the advanced plays too quickly. So understand the 5 basics, and it'll teach you a lot. It'll teach you a lot about life, not even just credit. But the 5 factors of credit, if you guys aren't unfamiliar, you could Google it, right? But it's payment history, utilization, age, inquiries, and types. So just study those 5, understand them. And again, I'm huge on unrealized gains. I mentioned that earlier. So if you actually study the lessons, then you're going to get a lot of life lessons out of it as well. Like payment history, I'll give you an example. Pay on time. Don't be a dickhead, right? Be on time.
Simple.
It's very simple. It's a life skill, right?
Yeah.
Utilization. I'll give you another one. Utilization. Just because you have access to something doesn't mean you should use it, right? Just because you have a lot of money doesn't mean you should go use it all.
Yeah.
Right?
They get up in the morning, don't jerk it off. So simple as that. It makes sense. It makes sense. Yeah.
So study the 5 factors, and you can, like I said, jump your credit score overnight. You could do it. I've seen people do it overnight. I've seen people do it in 30 days, a year. I think you're not going to make it if you say, "Oh, I'm going to fix my credit in a year." Like, why is it going to take you a year? Right? I just don't understand it.
Maybe they're misinformed. Maybe they just don't know enough. Or maybe they just don't follow you.
I think it's the not following me part.
Right? Yeah. So we need to get you guys going and give you some free game. Like, come on. Who doesn't like to travel for free? Like, the only reason I know is I'm in a private community. How's that going? Have you get canceled on that? On WAP, right?
No. It's on WAP. I have not gotten canceled on that. And that's where all the juice is, right?
Right.
So, in our community, we pretty much cover how to travel free, how to get funding, how to scale a business, how to get unlimited points, how to utilize credit for security, protection, things like that. So there's a lot more functional use within the community, and we pretty much just discuss these type of topics with members. So.
Well, if you aren't a member, I don't know what you're doing over here. Just click the link down below and get into it, because I'm in there. How have your members benefited from it so far? Like, what are the results coming and actually getting informed of what's right in front of them, but they don't see it?
Well, I think everyone joins with a different goal. And I think that's huge too. You want to establish what kind of goal that you have before you start optimizing your credit profile. So I do have some people in there that want to just optimize their credit profile, like what are the best credit cards for their current situation. I've had people that want to get funding for their businesses. I've had people start businesses through using credit card funding. I've had people go through identity theft and then they want to secure their finances. So like everyone's different. So we have something for everybody revolving around credit, but it's just so interesting. It's kind of related to fitness. You're into fitness, right? Everyone has different goals. They have different starting points. They have different heights. They have different weights. They have different training methods. Like there's just so many different aspects to it. So there's no one size fits all with credit, but there is something for anyone in credit.
Gotcha. Okay, I'll take you up on that. So, what's the crazy thing you've gotten for free just by using points as status? I think we talked about it. Flights, rooms. Am I missing something out?
I mean, there's other stuff. I think the craziest thing that I've actually gotten through credit was I obtained my way through status for Marriott, and I got to a point where they gave me a heavily discounted mattress from Ritz. So I essentially sleep at the Ritz-Carlton every day because my mattress is from there.
Oh, shit. Ritz-Carlton?
Yeah, I was with a buddy in Palm Springs. So then we flew over there. We went to the Ritz over there, had lunch. And then the bed, I was like, damn, this is comfortable. And then I had that offer in the back of my head. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go buy it. So I was in the bed, like buying the mattress on my phone. And then I had it delivered to my place. So.
I've never been through that. Tell me how it goes. Like, how's it different? Or like, it's just a level of prestige that you feel?
I mean, I guess I could have just went to a store and bought a mattress, but it's not as cool of a story.
That makes sense. Have you stayed in Ritz? Like, how was the experience?
I think Ritz-Carlton has actually the world-class customer service. So as soon as you go in, they'll offer you drinks. They'll offer to take all your bags. They'll call you Mister or whatever.
Oh,
right?
wow.
Like they'll get the door for you. Like
It's just Mr. and Mrs. and Miss at this point. There's none of that bullshit anymore. So anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you haven't experienced it, go to one. And touching on what we were saying earlier about like just sitting in first class just to kind of absorb the energy and feel it, right? Go to a Ritz. Like you don't have to stay there. You can go there, enjoy lunch, get a coffee or whatever, and you're gonna feel the energy difference.
Even because I've actually done that, and through that I was so motivated to actually get a room one day. Half Moon Bay, Ritz-Carlton by
I love
there.
that property.
Oh my goodness, that property is one of the prestigious properties I've ever seen. I just was like, okay, what's the coolest spot in the Bay Area? Went to Half Moon Bay, get a restaurant's reservations. Oh my God, the lobby?
It's beautiful.
Wow. You just walk around the property, it's ocean facing, and people have just houses, everything so calm, so peaceful. And then actually that motivated me enough. I wanna stay here one day. I wanna bring my girl. I wanna bring, if not, I'm gonna bring someone from a family member and treat them just for this. Not myself, for someone else. And 3 months later, it happened.
How was the experience?
I never experienced something like that personally, because some of you like who just don't have anything, it's just basically broke, would actually say, why would I pay $1,000, $1,500, a $2,000 room for a night? Oh my God, it's so expensive. Yeah, sure it is, but you don't need it. But when you feel, you just don't want to step down from it. It's like all these rich people, billionaires coming out and saying money doesn't matter. Okay, well, give one of your billions away then. Why don't you do that? Right? So it's one of those things that once you have it, you just want to have it for the rest of your life. Once you start eating tomahawks every day, you just don't want that fucking Denny's.
You want to go back to it.
Yeah.
It's a dangerous place to be because when you get to that level, it's hard to go back, right? So get to that level.
Yeah.
So, but ideally, my kind of philosophy on that is you don't want to always be at a 10. You kind of want to be somewhere in the middle, like a 7 or an 8, right? But you don't want to be at a 1 either, right? So like lifestyle, it's kind of I think it's a life hack, right? So if you're always at a 10, there's no room to go up. But if you're at a 7 or 8, you can kind of pull down a little bit and be like, oh, it's not that bad. It's not that great. It's not the best I've had, but I'm happy with it. And then you could still go to that 8, 9, or 10 every once in a while.
So you'd say like treat yourself to tens every now and then, but don't make that your everyday thing.
Correct.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So because if it's every day, then you're gonna adapt to it. You're just gonna be used to it, and it's gonna ruin things. So like when you start driving very, very nicer cars, right? You don't want to go back to the janky, broken down thing that you have to cold start with the jumpers and sit and wait for 30 minutes for it to heat up. Like you don't want to go back to that, right? But like if you're at that level at the moment, right, then it's just another day for you, right?
I'll take you up on that. Yeah. If you were 19 and broke and in college today, what are the 3 money moves would you make right now?
Fix your credit. Don't spend more than what you make. And find someone who has what you want and make them a mentor.
Write that down. Write that down, guys. But also, why do you think, like, when you get a credit card, for instance, why was it made? Like, what's the history behind it? Why do people fall for the same trap over and over again? Because I see Best Buy, I see all of these APR 0% for all of these credit cards have great offers for businesses. But do you think, I mean, not straight up, but do you think the banks and the credit card companies are trying to trick you into miss that one payment so they can, bam, like shoot it in your face, charging you 30%, 40% once you miss it? And people fall for it. Why do you think that happens? What's the psychology behind it?
I don't think they necessarily trick you. I mean, the information is blatantly there. It's all online. You can search it all, right? And I think people, like I said, they just don't care. They don't care soon enough. So like usually, and I'm speaking from my own experience here, like when I was 18, I didn't give a fuck about credit, right? Like I was like, I just want girls, alcohol, and parties, right? And then eventually the finances just kind of hit. So I was like, okay, like, well, I should start looking at my credit. And then that's what kind of opened the doors, right? But like, back to your question, I don't think banks try to trick people. However, they don't care if your credit is low because they make more money when your credit is low, right? So they make money off of interest. And the credit card debt is just continuously increasing right now, right? And I personally don't think that number is ever going to go down because people are still misinformed about how credit actually works, right? So they're just stuck in the rat race, I think. So you have to get connected with somebody that understands the basics of credit, and not even just me, right? Anything. Like you can do all that. You can find all that information online, right? But banks want you in debt. They want you to spend your money. They want you to pay 30% in interest. They want you to get into bad loans, right? But they're not going to say, hey, go get a bad loan. They're not going to say that. Yeah.
From that, I remember one of the billionaires out there, I'm sure I'll quote him right now. He basically held a credit card in an interview and he just cut it open. Never take a credit card. Always use a debit card. And Mark Cuban, I'm talking about you. What about that dummy? Because his political views, his financial views are basically stating he isn't a very smart of a billionaire, in my opinion. So why do you think he said that? Why do you think his psychology would be behind it? Does he think that people are dumb enough to actually not use the credit card how it's supposed to be used? Or he's just against it? Like, just one of those people,
I think, number one, I think you don't have to be smart to make money. You just have to stay consistent, right? And have the right information given to you, right? And if you just have blinders, so there's a lot of dumb billionaires, there's a lot of dumb millionaires, right? So you don't have to be smart to make money.
Mark Cuban.
But I think there's a lot of bad advice out there for not using credit because there's just so many benefits to it. So if you use a credit card, arguably it's safer than a debit card. So for example, like if you spend, like let's say you go buy a MacBook, right? And you use a credit card, you're actually safer doing that because your actual bank account is not attached to that transaction. So let's talk about fraud, for example, right? So like if somebody got your debit card information, then now they have access to your actual cash, right? So like let's say they bought a MacBook, right? They would actually deduct, like let's say it's $2,000 or whatever, right? from your actual bank account. If you use a credit card, it's the bank's money. So if you report the fraud, then who's the bank going to prioritize, your money or their money? They're going to prioritize their money. So if you ever dispute something on your credit card, they'll give you the cash back instantly, right?
Yeah.
But if you dispute something on a debit card, you got to jump through hoops. So arguably it's safer to get a credit card and use it for actual spend. Plus you're leaving money on the table, right? Like, so if you're not using a credit card, you're missing out on points, you're missing out on cash back, protections. I mean, some credit cards offer their own protection. So like you're missing out on all those things. So I think a better solution to not using a credit card versus a debit card, I think Mark Cuban could have explained it a little bit better in the sense of use a credit card, but don't spend money you don't have, right? Just treat it as a debit card, but don't spend money you don't have, right? I think that's the biggest issue that most people fall into, is because they start spending money that, they just can't pay back, and then they get into this huge debt trap. So.
To stop buying that drink. Stop buying your girl handbags. Stop buying her cars or like fancy gifts. She doesn't need it. I mean, at the end of the day, one thing I hate about it, once people start making that like couple $1,000s a month, they just want to live like they fucking made it. They just want to like ball out, buy the fancy car, probably get a financing they can't afford. But you're doing a fucking job. You can get laid off like that.
Yep.
Like last year, I think 90,000 Facebook employees got laid off like that. There's like software engineers, $150 to $300 to $400,000. I know personally, my friends got laid off just like that, living in big fancy mansions, driving BMWs, Rolls Royces, whatever, because they've been working for like 25, 30 years. How can you get laid off devoting yourself to a company for that many years,
right,
but you still have nothing? Now they have tough time to pay their house mortgage. Because they weren't building anything on the side.
It's lifestyle inflation. That's a real thing. A lot of people, when they start seeing a little bit of money, then they start inflating their lifestyle. Right? They start buying nicer cars, bigger houses, nicer clothes, things like that, and they're not within their bracket of what they need to be actually spending.
What would you say a person who's just got that job, started making a few $1,000s a month, let's say 10 grand, like just for the number, and he studied hard enough with Johnny Walker in the war room? How would you say to that guy, how should he approach his lifestyle?
Stay small, stay broke, right? So like you don't need to go out and spend all the money. Like all of that will come eventually. So just work while you're young, stack as much as you can, accumulate a bunch of credit, right? Buy assets, and eventually you're going to have so much money at some point in time that you're not going to know what to do with it. But like when you start seeing it in the beginning, you don't want to go out and just blow it all because you're not building anything.
Yes. So basically for the time frame of 5 years, just cut the whole distraction out. Like I know it's hard, guys. I know you want that car, and I know you want that fancy watch, but don't. Like, it's your life, do whatever you want at the end of the day. If that makes you happy.
I'll actually give you something on that. So I think if you can find the actual value of it at the end, like let's say you want to buy a nice watch. Okay, like how can that watch directly make you money? Like if you can tie it to something that you can directly see, hey, this is going to benefit me, then that's okay, I think. Because like, for example, what if you have $10,000 to buy a watch? Okay, right? You buy the watch and you go to a Ritz-Carlton to have a coffee. Now somebody at the Ritz-Carlton will talk to you because they like your watch. A watch guy knows. Now you're networked with this guy that has money, right? Because of that watch. So I think if you could tie it directly to something that you're saying, okay, this can actually improve my situation, I think it's okay. But the issue is people don't think that way.
Because they're not smart enough. Simple as that. That's some advanced level game out there. The only reason I got my G-Wagon is I go in front of the hotels and people just start striking conversations. I met this guy who goes, and he's the owner of in the area. And I just parked my G-Wagon in front of like a parking lot, and he had the shop right there, and he had all the cars in the fleet you can think of. He just got 2 of them, cash, got an Urus, I don't know, probably 15, 20, the guy's worth 700 million. Let's just say that. So I didn't even know that until I just have a normal conversation. And then now, like, I'm talking to him, I'm talking about his life story and about his health and issues. And he's just blatantly said, like, okay, you're probably richer than me right now because you have health and I don't, but I have all this money, but no amounts and sums of money can buy me health.
Right.
And that connected because I felt, and we're gonna have him on the guest on the show as well. But I truly felt that. But that's and now he's my mate. Like we would just text back and forth, and if I need a car help, he just helps me out.
All just because you bought the car. But that's the thing. Like if you could shift your mindset to taking liabilities and turning them into assets, it's a completely different mental shift, right? So how much it's unrealized gains. How much did that actually bring you, right? I don't think there's a number on it, but that's a lot of value.
But
right? It's the price versus value thing.
Yeah, I completely agree. But how many guys do you know is worth $700 million just so they sold their company? None. You guys know none of them. I didn't know until then, and today I do. But so, what would you say? What are your top 3 cards right now for travel hacking in 2025?
Top 3 cards. So again, it's subjective to whatever brands you want to work with. So for example, like if you are not near a Delta hub, there's no reason to buy a Delta card, right? Like, or if you don't like Hilton, then why would you get a Hilton card, right? So I think it's subjective, but if I had to fill in 3 cards, it'd probably be the Platinum with Amex. That's my number one. A lot of people like the CSR, Chase Sapphire Reserve, over that Platinum, but I like Platinum over that. And then I would fill that in with another hotel card. So I like Marriott, so I would fill in with a Marriott card. But I would just say figure out what brands you like. If you're going to travel, figure out what hubs are local to you, figure those things out, and then that way you can fill in the blank for that 3rd card.
Gotcha. What's one thing about sales you wish every 20-year-old knew sooner?
Make a friend, make a sale.
I learned that from the book How to Win Friends and Make Influence. Like like Andrew Carnegie's.
Yep.
Is that
great book? I don't know if I necessarily got it from there, but I think that is just the best piece of advice. So I think people that are into sales, they get too salesy, and sales is like a stench, right? Like you have commission breath, right? Like so, if you're trying to sell somebody, they can sense that right away. It's like if you're trying to get a girl, right? Like they know what you want.
desperation?
Yeah, they could smell it, right? So then it's more of a turnoff. So like if you're actually trying to sell, don't try to sell. I think that's the best piece of advice, right? Like you actually just make a genuine friend, genuine connection, and then eventually they will buy from you.
How would you approach saying like, oh, actually, I want them to have this value and they don't have it for some reason? Let's say life insurance, and I actually want to help them out, but even though you make a friend, would you approach it from the angle, okay, you're my friend, so I'm going to help you out? Or I believe in this product and I think you should have it too. They're 2 different approaches. Like you just want to help him because he's just your friend, or do you actually believe in the product?
I think it's a bit of both. So like, do you genuinely want to help? I don't feel like most sales guys genuinely want to help. Good sales guys do, because a good salesman will ask good questions. And if they're not a fit for that product, they won't sell it to them. Should we light these up?
Oh yeah, let's go. Let's do it. Why do you think most dudes our age don't care about credit until it's too late?
It's not sexy. Most guys just care about girls and alcohol when they're younger. And I think credit is just one of those things that doesn't hit you until you got to pay a mortgage or you want to get a car. And then someone says no. Most of the guys that I actually talk to that like, they just get too involved into the party life. Like they just don't care. They just use all their credit cards for vacations or buy girls handbags or whatever.
Why do you think they're stuck in that mindset? Because I've experienced that lifestyle for myself. I've been out there among those dudes, and I'm out. Like I just wanted the experience. I wanted to know. I want to understand psychology because I love watching people and see what itches them to actually choose what they choose. Like going out of your way to come out in the nighttime, night scene, and actually socializing. People don't even socialize sometimes. They're just there to fucking stalk you. Whatever. But why do you think they cannot break through that cycle and actually make something for themselves?
Everybody has their vices, right? Like, so I think it's just one of those things that like people just try to escape from their reality. And I think if you reframe it in the sense of that you build a life where you don't have to escape from, then like you're not going to go down that rabbit hole. So a lot of people live boring lives, right? They're just paycheck to paycheck, or maybe their girl's like a 2 or whatever, right? Like they just hate it, right? So then they try to escape with devices. But I mean, if you could wake up whenever you're done sleeping, do whatever you want to do, and go wherever you want to go, and not have to worry about money, like it's completely different, right? So I think people just try to chase again what they can't have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's basically an escape. Like
Yeah.
blatantly just being real. How do you balance living in the moment versus playing a long-term wealth game? Like as we were talking about it. So people think 9 to 5, good, money's coming in, and they can finally get that apartment that they choose, paying $2,000 to $3,000 a month. And I'm sure most people are fine with it. Not most people want the stress of being an entrepreneur. You're working, and actually, that's a trick. That's a coping that, as an entrepreneur, that I myself have realized. We think jobs are bad. We always shit on 9 to 5s, but as an entrepreneur, you're working even harder, longer hours. You have no social life. You basically are just going everywhere if you have to, either for businesses or to maintain relationships. It's a straight up purpose because your time is so valuable and you have to squeeze every bit of it out. Versus someone who goes to the job, they look out for the weekend. They look out, it's a Friday night, this is what the hell I'm supposed to do, because that's how colleges train them to be in that whole scenario. So why does that lifestyle, would you say, is so appealing for the masses and especially the young generation? Because it doesn't make sense, as the alcohol sales have dropped from $35 billion industry to $5 billion industry.
Interesting.
And still people are going out more than ever before. I just don't understand that. And people are not even socializing. And we talk about young men right now. Most people haven't seen action in about a year or 2 years, straight up. And people, I know personally and knew someone, and I read the statistics online, people, students who are of the age 26, 27 are still virgins. What, little off topic, why do you think in society, like what has led up to this inflation? When we talk about credit card inflation, what about hoflation?
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of a wild time that we live in. I think people are just focused on the wrong things. And as technology and AI advances, I feel like people are just more inclined to stay at home, right? I can't relate, but like why I could see how guys are like, okay, I would rather just stay home and see the perfect chick online versus not even getting looked at going out. You know what I mean? And I mean, I don't agree with that, right? Like you should train yourself to be the best possible version of yourself, go out, work hard, make a lot of money, be as fit as possible, and just meet people, right? But I think people feel like it's just out of reach. I think social media kind of changed the paradigm of a lot of people, where you could just be doom scrolling on Reels or TikTok or whatever, right? And it's just kind of demotivating because like you're like, okay, this guy looks like a 10, he's fucking 6'4", like has supermodel girlfriends. Like I'm never gonna get that, right? So I could see why people think that. And so I would just say to combat that, get out more, see what the real world's like.
Yeah.
I think you had to pivot into less AI and less tech. It's unconventional advice, right? And I think AI and tech is the future, so it's worth looking into. But if you really want to live a good life, like stay in the real world.
As much as I would like to agree with it, but I do have a sense of hesitation agreeing with it. Reason being, because now generation, I mean, you're from the generation of 90s. I'm early 2000s.
Yeah.
Now, 3-year-old has a fucking phone.
Yeah.
How do you think they're gonna cope actually going into the real world and socialize? Because I won't say never, but I usually don't go on dating apps and actually try to like find a chick. My thing, if I were at one point at a dating app, was to actually go into a new town and actually ask people and socialize. Okay, what's the best spot for food or this and that in that town? That was basically the game back in the day. But I never looked for chicks in love online. That's just not appealing to me.
Yeah, it's super weird.
So some people might find it good for them, but we're talking about probabilities.
Right.
I mean, even as a chick, from a chick standpoint of view, would a chick rather have meet someone at a coffee house, at a yoga class, or somewhere outside, or at a nightclub?
Right. Outside.
There you go.
Yeah.
So
I don't think that you should be looking online, because I think it goes a little deeper, and I don't think people think about it on this level. But whatever you see online isn't real, right? Like, that is the best absolute version of that person. So, for example, like, let's say a job interview, right? Like, that is not, most people that go into a job interview try to be the absolute best version they can, and that's not something that they maintain, right? From an entrepreneurial standpoint or a business owner standpoint, like, you hire an employee, you see it all the time. They're like, this was a great guy, and then their work just starts declining, right? I feel like that's this whole social media thing, right? Like, everyone is putting this image out there of, maybe it was their best picture ever, and that's not what you look like on a daily basis. Maybe you posted a fit picture of you 3 years ago, right? I mean, AI can write your bio. Like, it's all of the shit's not real, right?
Yeah.
So, like, I think when you go out in the real world, it'll show a lot of true colors of who people actually are.
I have to agree with that one. But how do you think the new generation is going to cope up with it? Like, it's basically
I think
technology.
it comes down to us, like us as in this generation. I was in a unique generation, because I was in that generation of, there was no social media, and then it came around, and then now we're in the social media age. So I've been on both sides. So I understand that, like boomers, for example, like, social media is just above them. They don't care. It doesn't make sense, because that was not around, right? But millennials, we were young enough to understand it and the importance of it. And then now anybody below millennials is just technologically based, right? So, like, I think, like, it starts with millennials. I think they have to be able to show that. Even people like yourself, right? Like, who understand that the detrimental stuff of all the AI and tech and online stuff. It just starts with us, man. And it's one person at a time. And at the end of the day, like, you don't want everybody to be smart. You don't want everybody to be outside. I mean, it's like, you know what I mean? Then it would be boring.
Makes sense. We need balance in the world. Like, makes sense.
I mean, you brought it up earlier too. It's like with the jobs versus being an entrepreneur. I think entrepreneurs forget that you need employees. Like, a lot of, like, I talk to a lot of entrepreneurs who are like, you're stupid, you're broke, this and that. Like, dude, you need those people.
Makes sense.
You need NPCs, man.
Yeah, that's true. That's how the world's built on as well. Like, who would have actually thought and dreamt as a kid, oh, I want to be a construction worker, go out in the sun, work 12, 14 hours a day, and come to the minimum wage to my house.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, like, if you're a hardworking person, like, there's absolutely nothing wrong with working a job.
But the reason also we were bringing this up is how inflation has actually affected lives, and how easily you are to manipulate if you don't have enough freedom, if you don't have enough information, if you don't have enough money to actually protect, defend, and pull out some moves, as opposed to if you don't have money at all to do that. But the 1950s, 60s, yeah, you might be able to get away with a job. Now, you need to actually be free and not have to worry about your chick fucking another dude who's richer, better, smarter, stronger than you. You need multiple streams of income. I mean, that's just the reality we live in. Except our parents. Like, they lived a whole different reality. And I don't know how they're going to cope with this one. Because they're done with whatever they wanted to do in life, basically, at this point. And they're just cruising around and from a foundation that they built in his 20s as maybe a doctor, maybe like an employee, or like devoting themselves to a company. Now they're just done with their lifestyle. Now all they want to do is basically work 10, 15 years at most and just retire, right? That's the dream they've been sold. And even I talk to my grandparents, now they always look for that, like, grading level system. And like, one of the days I was having a conversation with my grandpa, the first question he always asks after, like, asking about my health and stuff like that, what's your GPA? Mm-hmm. What's your GPA, and when can I see you becoming this scholar or like a scientist or whatever? I'm like, that's just not real anymore. Like, scientists would basically agree with anyone who pays them.
Right.
At this point, that's the reality we live in. Nothing's legit. You can call me a conspiracy theorist, but I'd rather be a conspiracy theorist as opposed to obey what they tell me and do my own research. But nonetheless, we went really off topic with that one.
No, I love it, man. Like, shoot the questions. I like it. It's stuff that people should be aware about.
Because people, they just are blindly complying with everything. All I'm telling you is to think for yourself, question everything. We just blindly comply to whatever's been told to us. I mean, it can be true. For instance, religion. So for religion, some people, let's talk about Islam, right? In Islam, they tell, oh, if you are a believer, you have a spot in afterlife. Like you'll go to heaven, this and that. And this is only the true religion. Sure. Well, for you Muslim out there. But I also argue, if that was the only truth, then why would there be other religions to even flourish? So my philosophy is all about yin and yang, right? So in order for one religion to grow, the other one has to be in the shadows. That's what happened with Christianity and Islam. Christianity was number one religion. I think it still is, but it's been taken over with Islam spreading across the world. So for that one to flourish, the Christianity has to go in the shadows. And this made us also realize, like, okay, in the present time, the society is functioning well when you see the world as binary. So it's either 0 or 1. It's as simple as that. Islam thinks that way. It's very logical, very straight up. I'm not monetizing Islam, but as in, if it's growing at that fast of a rate, there might be some truth to the stuff of it. So to counterbalance that, we have Christianity. So what do you say is your personal belief in that?
Well, I'm not going to talk on something I don't really know much about. I do.
Are you a man of faith?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm Catholic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But so I'm not going to, like I said, I'm not going to get into the nitty gritty of religion because it's not a topic I study very often.
Me neither, but it's just like thinking on top of my head.
It's what I will say is that if that is something that you're into, and if you're interested in learning different religions or different topics just in general, I think a good philosophy to have an outlook on it is take the best and leave the rest, right? So if you like certain principles of certain aspects of certain topics, take that, implement it into your life, right?
I've read that in a book. Consume the fruit, throw the seed.
I like that. Yeah. So I mean that is 100% applicable to anything in life. I said it earlier. I mean, follow people who have what you want. Forget all the other advice, right? I think it's especially we're in a tech age, right, where there's information thrown at you daily, whether it be right, wrong, whatever. So it's easy to get off track, off topic on whatever you're focused on. So I think going back to the younger generation, I think a lot of the issue is that they can't stay focused. So, and we even said multiple streams of income earlier, right? Like, so I think people misunderstand that concept is because if you ask like any successful 7-8 figure guy, like they stuck to one thing, right? But they made multiple streams of income within that one thing. So other people think what they have to do is they have to get into real estate, they have to get into crypto, they have to get into stocks, they have to work their job or whatever, right? So let's say you're a construction worker. I mean, how many avenues can you make money in being a construction worker? There's a lot.
Yeah.
Right. There's production, manufacturing, staffing, things like that. So I think that's one of the bigger things. It's like, so just take information and then formulate your own thing, but stay focused in one topic, right?
Write that down, boys. When did you actually stop being broke, and what changed your life and mindset that got you here actually wanted to give out to the world? When I mean broke, as in mentally, because you change hair first, then this starts to come out.
Yeah, actually, I was just about to say that. I mean, being broke is a mindset; it's not a circumstance. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I got into entrepreneurship, and money started. I started having those thoughts when I was like 18. I always just thought it was cool. I always saw the lifestyle. So I would argue that's pretty young, right? Mm-hmm. So I was just trying to focus on it, but also I was trying to live my life as a young guy, right? So I don't know. It was always kind of natural. I mean, I've always been an athlete, so I've always just been competitive, and I think it just came naturally to me personally. But I do firmly believe if you want to change your mindset, right, there's only two ways to do it, and it's either through repetition of an idea or a emotional impact. And I'm talking about emotional impact like somebody dies or whatever, right? Or you get hit with some bad news, like you have a disease or like cancer or something. That's like an emotional impact, right? Not just because you feel sad one day. You know what I mean? or repetition of idea. That's probably the most genuine way to change your mindset. So if you're in a position where like, you're just sick and tired of being sick and tired, then just start banging it out, start reading the right books, start getting around the right information.
I'd say you pay the price either way, like to add on what you just told me. It's either you pay the price of being broke or you actually pay the price to get rich. Mm-hmm. You don't have money, you're stressing about, I can't afford this, I can't afford that vacation, my girls want this, my family want this, I cannot retire, my mom, she's sick, my dad, whatever. Then you pay the price stressing it out. And then you just work and like wage harder for that. Or you can actually build something, work towards getting successful and financially free, but you have a lot of stress on the way.
You have to pay the price at some point. Right?
Yeah.
It's either you want to front load it or put it in the back, right? So
as in life,
yeah. And I think it's genuinely better to front load it because it's out the way and you can just enjoy the rest of your life. And arguably, like, to get rich is the same amount of stress to be broke, right? And I'd choose being rich over being broke. So.
No, yeah, I agree with that, but I don't know what about that just always appealed me for some reason, because I think we're both logical men out here. Like we perceive the world and our approach towards business, relationships. It's very logical. Like at least that's our best hope. So being 16, 17, coming to this country as an immigrant, I looked at other people. I observed. I felt as an employee at a Starbucks is invisible to most people. When was the last time you went to Starbucks? Let's say whenever. Do you remember the employee's name?
No.
With the face?
No.
But I'm sure you went to that Ritz-Carlton, that person that treats you better, maybe a server who was really nice to you, maybe you took a date and you network around with someone who was actually of value to you. And that tells me when coming to this country is how much our society has told us that it's fine to be wherever you are. You can eat wherever you do, eat all the normal snacks, which are loaded with petroleum. You know the new Girl Scout cookies? Mm-hmm. They came out and actually looked at the ingredients and they found petroleum in that thing.
I heard about that, yeah.
And I'm like, what? They were misrepresenting for years what they actually put in the thing.
Wow.
But yeah, that shocks me. But coming back to it, as an immigrant, I actually realized how much value you have once you are valuable to the society, how much respect you gain from your peers, your friends, a woman around you. And you just have this like a D1 athlete who's a star of the show, a star of the sports team. Everything's off the table for you. Everyone get out of your way, treats you special. Maybe you want to take a day off. Coaches are like, whatever, So to connect all the dots and to actually see and observe from a lens of a 17-year-old, I was always driven. I always knew 3 things before I actually went into that. I need my fitness on check, my growth mindset, I'd say, where you have multiple pieces of information about whatever you're doing, but you just need to be growing all the time. So what I mean by that is right now we're doing a podcast, probably this and that. After that, you have a meeting, I have somewhere to be. So rather than actually being like, okay, I did a podcast, I'm done for the day, all I'm going to do is chill and relax. Rather than that, how can I put my next few hours that are left for the day into something productive? To actually learn something, to actually grow. Maybe I could come with the better questions. Like to actually reflect on each and every single action and just become a professional, they say, in its dream. And yeah, coming back to that. So, and the third thing was just have a network around. I thought I could do it all by myself. I was a fucking loner. Mm-hmm. I didn't talk to anyone because I thought I got it all. I can be the best version of myself, and I don't need anyone to build a business. Have friends, I can make it. But I couldn't be more wrong. Why do you think networking is so important, and why do you need a sense of camaraderie around you?
So if you want to go fast, you go alone. If you want to go far, you go with others. Right. So networking is super important. I mean, it's going to get you access to things that you don't normally get access to or would get access to by yourself, right? So you can't do everything. Absolutely not. Like you could do as much of it as possible that you can, like, you know, get fit, like get your money right, get girls, whatever. But there's a cap on everything, especially if you're diverting your focus to other things, right? So for example, that's the whole purpose of a team, man. I mean, like if you have a team, they're supposed to fill in the blanks, right? You might have your own strengths, might have your own weaknesses. Everybody does. And then you just focus on your strengths and then find someone that has strength where you're weak and then partner with them.
So basically, work at where you're strong at and find people to cover your weakness.
Exactly.
Couldn't have said it any better. Where do you see yourself in potential making your way up to a certain hotel club or a flight club? And how is the ROI? Is it really worth it? If it is, then how can the audience can get the best bang for the buck?
I think one of the clubs that have my interest at the moment is the Ritz-Carlton Club. It's like $100,000 to get in, and then I think it's like a couple grand for maintenance fee per year. But
What does that get you? What kind of access does that get you?
That's a good question. I'm not in the club, so.
Oh, okay.
But I see the value in clubs. I see the value in private communities because you get access to information, access to events, experiences, things that you don't normally get access to, right? So I think they're valuable. So I'll give you a very, very basic scenario like Costco. Costco is a club. Like they have all the wholesale, right? You pay a membership fee, you go in, and then you have the best deals. Like you can't go to the supermarket down the street and find the same deal you would get at Costco, right? Yeah. So that is a very basic level of membership access. So I genuinely think memberships are where it's at.
We'll get there one day, you know, because we're studying.
Yeah.
Do you think young guys today are too focused on flexing or not focused enough in learning how the system really works?
Yeah, I think so. I think because we're in that social media age, then people just want to show off shit that they don't have. Right. So I think stop focusing on the flexing. You don't have the actual flex is like it just being your normal day to day. Right. Like because you might just be driving nice cars every single day or eating dinners. It's not a flex. Like you're just posting your daily life. But to others, it looks like a flex. Right.
Right. Yeah.
I think the people that actually try to show off stuff that they don't have, like maybe that was like their one steak dinner for the year. They post it out or like, you know, maybe they never drove a BMW before and they post it. Like that's a flex. Right. But like if you're just living your life, it's just another day.
Talking about cars, what would you say is your dream car that you're like, okay, this is my level that I really want to achieve?
That's a good question. I am a car guy. I like cars. However, I'm kind of conflicted with do I want to be attached to all these cars is my question. I think you have a little bit more freedom when you don't have the cars because they do become a liability, right? For sure. Depends what cars you buy, but where are you going to house them? Are you going to drive them all? If I'm traveling all the time, I'm not going to drive the cars, right? Like, so that's something I'm actually kind of conflicted with, but I mean, Porsche is a great car, Lamborghini, Aston Martin. I mean, there's just so many options out there. And the other side of it, I'm just like, well, I'm collecting all the credit cards. I should collect all the cars, right? Like, so I'm a little conflicted, to be honest with you on that one.
Same approach is in like have the best of the best you can for every single thing, right?
Yeah, it's like, why not? But then, like I said, they just come with their own headaches. So I think one of the philosophies I'm trying to work out myself is more so like, do I want to be attached to stuff? I don't really need it.
You mean as just cars or material stuff?
Both. Right? Like, so like homes, I mean, homes is an example. Like if you don't have a house, like you are free to go anywhere. Right. So I would even argue that it's cheaper now to live in a hotel than it is a house. If you know how to play the game, you can play with the credit card points. You can play with optimizing your whole profile. Like you can make connections at a hotel. Like, I mean, the possibilities are endless, right? Like, so there's just so many options out there, but you just have to kind of look and think about it a little bit deeper.
Would you say about how can I let me rephrase this? How can I actually know the system about credit cards?
Like, I'm sorry. What was the question?
So you're like, if you know how to, you basically stated how it's easier to afford and live in a hotel that's cheaper than living in a house. How can I have access to that?
I mean, just do the math, right? Like, so if you look at it, a hotel room is like what, $250? Let's say 200 to make it easy, right? 200 times 30 days.
I mean, you get it for free sometimes.
Exactly,
Yeah,
right?
so.
And I'm saying, like, if you actually paid to be at a hotel, right? If you just break down the math. So it's $200, right? A day. If you stay in a hotel for a month, that's $6,000. How much is a house mortgage here? Well, I mean, we're in California, right? So $6,000.
Tell me about it.
But the difference between a hotel is like you get free food, you have amenities, you have a maid, right? Like, so how much more are you actually saving?
And you have someone to clean it too. So yeah, maid, yeah, basically. So
yeah, so I mean, arguably it's cheaper to live in a hotel.
And saves you a lot of time.
Exactly.
And you have free gym, so you don't have to drive to the gym and actually waste hours. You can just get a quick workout in and get
exactly. So that's kind of where I'm at with the confliction, right? Like, so I could buy a house and it's my house. I could do whatever I want, right? Or I could stay in a hotel and leave whenever I want, and I could experience different hotels, right? So it's just kind of like, what lifestyle do you want? I don't think there's right or wrong on that, but what do you want?
Trey, it's finally time. You're in the Stallion's hot seat, and this is going to be the ritual of the podcast. You're the first guest. And it's going to happen to every single guest who comes out here. We're going to put them in the hot seat for a rapid fire round. It's either this or that kind of questions. We basically go over that, and we just need their insight. They're nerve-wracking. They're spontaneous. They're just all over the place. Let's find out.
I'm ready. Let's go.
Let me put you through the ringer. Amex Gold or Chase Sapphire? Who are you taking to prom?
Gold.
Cashback forever or fly free forever?
Fly free forever.
800 credit score, but no hose. 600 credit score, but with a baddie.
800 credit score.
Whoa, no way. Really?
Really?
Oh, shit. Man, serious. Delta or American?
American.
Free hotel suite or first class seat?
Hotel suite.
A Latina who wants kids or a spicy European who is just a party animal?
Kids.
Big personality or big credit limit?
My personality's big?
What would you pick? What would you rather have? A big personality or a big credit limit?
Personality.
Never have to pay taxes again or get verified on IG with 1 million followers?
Never have to pay taxes.
Smash your ex once or lose your passport before a free trip?
Lose my passport. I'll just get another one.
We'll definitely have to go through your ex story off camera. Would you rather lose your main card or your main girl for the week?
My main card. I got unlimited cards, man. So.
And chicks.
There you go.
Date a girl with an Android or the one who uses Snapchat to text?
That's a hard one. Android.
I'm with you on that one. Definitely with you on that one. Red flag you're ashamed to admit you like in a woman?
I think this changed a little bit over the years, but I like toxic women before.
What kind of toxic are we talking?
Just a little. My life was boring, right? Like, I was just focused on. I was doing all the studying of the basic credit stuff, so I was just kind of bored, you know. So I wanted a little spice, a little drama. Yeah.
Does it come from them being too territorial with you, or some other stuff that you're into?
No, I just needed drama. I just need something different. Okay. Little arguments, bickering here and there. Like, call me weird, but
well, it's definitely. It
builds a lot of character.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. The biggest L you took and never told anyone until now. Exclusive for this podcast.
Biggest L I took. Lost 40 grand in a crypto trade.
Some of you don't even have that in your fucking savings account. That's wow. Now we know. Which one was it? Trump?
No, I was just getting into meme coins. I just, it's a
yeah.
whole clusterfuck. But
I actually sat with a guy who rugs and shit pulls in Miami when I was there, and he actually told me how the game works. It's either you just choose the crowd, as in choose the people that you want to launch coin with,
yeah.
and actually get on the board. So you are the early investor. Otherwise, you can just end up losing a lot of money.
Well, I mean, it's designed for you to lose, right? So, I mean, I went into it, and it's not like it didn't kill me, right? Like,
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, yeah, but I had to eat that.
Yeah.
Funny enough, I was with my girl, and she had no idea what was going on. She's like, "Why are you in a bad mood?" And I'm like, "Fuck, I just lost 40 grand, man." Like, I didn't even tell her. I was just whatever. But
yeah, just tug it out. Maybe I invested. You need to put a sell on it sometimes.
You could. Yeah.
I invested in this company where it would have benefited a lot of children because fucking 18-year-olds
right.
doing the crypto.
Sell it.
Yeah, put a sell on it. But yeah, so I guess.
Yeah, I mean, looking back at it, I mean, it's whatever now. But yeah, it was a tough weekend.
I believe you on that one. Be caught wearing a fake designer, or fumble a 10 in front of your boys.
Fumble at 10. I mean, that's just a part of the game, man. I mean, it is what it is. Your boys didn't talk to the 10, right?
Yeah, but at least you talk to her. And
Yeah.
you fumble it, and it's not up to you. It's
fake designer, you don't come back from that. Man.
Oh no, never. That's why I'm no shit on. I'd rather win nothing than something fake. So, English or Spanish?
English.
Whoever moves first is gay.
We're gonna be here a while.
I'm gonna take a hit on that one. I'm gonna take a hit on that one.
That was a good one.
Well, Trey, I think we covered most of it, but what's the last message that you want to leave your audience out there? And like a final piece of message. Where can they find you? How can they reach you out, and how can they actually change their lives knowing the system? Because I'm sure a lot of people watching this have no clue how the system works.
I think just look deeper into all the information that's provided to you. Really fact check things. Follow people who have what you want, and just listen to them. Have blinders on, and just drown out the noise. I mean, if you stick to one thing long enough, the results will come. I mean, they might not come right away, but just stay consistent. If you guys want to find me, my Instagram is @TreyDebney. I'm pretty easy to find. X is Clean Credit Play. And message me. I mean, I'm willing to help. There's not a lot of people that actually understand where credit could take you in life. And, I'd love to have people part of the community.
Great. And how can people actually benefit? What are the results they start seeing right away when they follow you and your content?
Just looking at things in a different perspective. Again, I'm all about unrealized gain. So it's not necessarily just about credit. Credit has gotten me to where I'm at in life. It's gotten me in conversations. It's gotten me into networks. It's gotten me into nice hotel suites, nicer cars. It's provided a lot of experience. And a lot of the people that I've met in my personal life, I would include you in that, is that I wouldn't have been able to do it without credit. So there's a lot of lessons within the credit itself. So just study.
Study hard. With Blue Label Johnny Walker in the war room. Bro, that meme just went viral out of nowhere, though.
It's funny, man.
I saw this video of Nelk doing it on Tristan.
Yeah.
And they're like, how did this meme went viral? It's just funny as fuck.
You just know the right people, man, and gets into the right hands. You never know. I think that's the craziest part about like just putting content out there. You just never know. It's like I used to do a lot of fitness content, and the stuff that I worked so hard on didn't get any views. But then the stuff I was like, I'll just post it, whatever. Those were the ones that got more traction.
Is it the same concept going with the chicks? The one you want the most doesn't want you at all, and when you're like, yeah, whatever.
Well, it's like the commission breath shit, bro. Like people just know. So, but if you move through life, it's like, fuck it, whatever. I don't care. You'd be surprised what comes your way,
right? Even I see most of my content, which is shot from an iPhone, has more viewers than something I shot with a fucking $10,000 camera.
I'm kind of big on that. So I think a lot of people like to play business or feel like they're doing something, but they're not really doing anything. Does it make sense? a lot of people will like buy all the equipment, do this, do that, but they don't film, right? Like the guy that's filming off his iPhone in his basement is going to beat you investing 10 grand into camera equipment and doing all this, right? I'm not saying it's not important, but a lot of people will just do that. Like, for example, they'll go to Starbucks, bring their laptop, like fucking text their friends.
Don't even
like,
get me started.
like,
Yeah.
It's not, you're not doing anything.
Yeah, like you're just pretending to be busy.
Yeah.
What's the actual productivity or like productive things you've done that come out of it, right?
Yeah, so I think that's a big issue that a lot of people suffer from.
I can never do that. I fucking hate their chairs. They're too small for me. They don't even have couches. The Wi-Fi. It's
actually like even if you go to like a cafe or whatever, I'm not knocking it, but like it's actually more of a distraction than anything else. Unless you're in a house where it's like loud and everyone like kids or whatever.
Yeah.
But like,
it is what it is. So people do whatever they want. So we'll leave the audience with a final ringer. We call it Stallion Signature Send-Off. First one is to drop the reins. One raw truth people aren't ready for. It can be from anywhere. It can be from your like niche or in life in general.
Everything is not as it seems to be. I think you need to learn the skill of understanding and dissecting concepts. I think a lot of people's issues are not understanding concepts correctly. And you think you might know it, like when somebody presents you with information, you're like, I know that, this and that. But sometimes you could probably relate. Maybe your mom told you something when you were little and it just didn't sink in until you were like 18, 20, 21, whatever. And you had to go through the experience. So if you're hyper aware of the concepts that you might not understand it right away, it's going to make you look at things different.
I'll write that one down because that's some real knowledge. I agree with that. What's your alpha code? One sentence or quote that you live by?
Good question. I haven't thought that much into it.
Could be any philosophy.
Aim to be the best. I mean, whatever you do, crush it. I mean, like I said, I came from a competitive nature. Yeah, I mean, you said one sentence, but I'm going to go a little deeper.
Go for it.
I come from a competition, just growing up, playing sports and doing all those things. So, like, if you're going to go in a room and you're going to compete with other people, just be the best. You might not be the best, but if you have that mentality, you're going to see a lot more results.
People feel that in the energy, and especially when you're doing whatever you do, it's like, this man's ruthless.
Absolutely.
Even though your enemies are better than you, they're stronger than you, at least poke them and damage them to the point and take away something from them because you're in a fight. It's just like boxing ring. If I know my enemy's more skilled, stronger, have much more years on this craft than I do, I'll still try to do him a lot of damage before I leave that ring because I want to be respected by my opponent.
Yeah, I mean, I could sum it up in 2 words, actually, now that I'm thinking about it.
Go for it.
Winners win, bro. That's what they do.
What's the message you'd give to young people watching this?
Stay off the socials. Get in the real world. Live life.
Too many youngsters are just scrolling in hours and hours. I have my cousin right there in the next room. Bro, screen time, 18 hours. 18 hours. How the fuck do you manage to spend so much time on the phone?
I'm gonna actually be guilty of that. My screen time's pretty high, but
you're actually doing something productive with it. You're probably replying to emails.
I'm not perfect, man. So you know what I mean. Like I think it's one of those things that is you have to be aware. I think awareness is key. So you just have to be aware you're doing these things and be able to do. I call it a production pivot. Right. I actually got that from Andy Frisella. So if you are aware and something clicks and you're aware of that situation, you're like, oh, I should be doing this. Just do it instantly. Do it immediately. Right. So I don't think there's anything wrong with being on the phone. You can use it. Right. You could arguably scroll for 18 hours and then come up with the concept. Right. Like I've had some of my random best ideas drinking. Right.
Wow.
Like, you know, like it turns an unproductive activity to a productive activity. So sometimes if you're aware, things can change.
Well, I'll take you up on that one because I also have one philosophy that I really think if you have no choice, but sometimes an airport lounge or I could never read books in that. Like too crowded, it's too much to handle, too much to carry. That's me personally. What I've realized is now that we're making content, now that we're making videos, now that we're doing something productive, maybe you're a video editor, maybe you're a content creator, a vlogger, a YouTuber, whatever. So when we consume content, we should always have this thing in the back of our minds. How can I remake this if I have to? Let's say if I'm looking at an actor, Al Pacino, straight up, looking at his scene from Scarface, how he just shot the whole lobby down. What if I have to reenact that? How would I do it? I mean, it could be centered down to your own niche.
Right.
If you're a doctor, some people just are posting reels online. How can I reenact this and add my own personal brand and my spices, my taste to it, where I can come out with more personality and do better than what my competitor did?
Yep.
That would actually make you think while you consume it.
I think you'll actually be unstoppable if you can take an unproductive activity and make it productive.
For example, what can it be?
We're talking about dating, right? And so, like, if you're gonna go date a bunch of chicks, like, arguably it's very draining, it's very time consuming, it's bad for your wallets. But if you go into dates with intent, like being able to take girls out, see how they react, what's the psychology of it, how often are you closing the deal, right? Like, so those are productive actions.
It's a numbers game, isn't it? What do you think?
Everything's a numbers game,
right? So people they're so fragile with their egos, man. Like I talk to my people who are just hard time approaching women. I'm like, it's not about that you straight have to fuck her. Like, have a conversation. You might disqualify that woman because she doesn't fit your criteria, but it's a normal. She's a human. Humanize them.
right?
Don't put them on a pedestal. It's fine if the conversation don't go your way. The reason is because she can smell the desperation.
Absolutely.
Be the James Bond. You think James Bond walk into a room where he's, I want to fuck this woman off the bar? No. He plants the seed slowly. He makes himself noticeable. He makes himself stand out from the crowd where he inherits that attention automatic because he's not looking for that desperation. It happens. If it doesn't, Very nonchalant about it.
Well, this is a networking hack too, and it trails on the women, right? Like don't try to network.
Yeah.
Just go there, be yourself. I'll just be somebody worth talking to, and like everything will just naturally happen.
Yeah. The people like go with intent, like at these car meetups. Like I have a friend who has a Lambo and other ones a Rari. They go to these old fancy car meetups across the area, and I went with him one day. It's so fucking boring. You're talking about cars. Everyone has a Rari there. Like, what sets you apart? It's a character. Like, you actually should go to make new friends.
Right.
Just be yourself. And not everyone you're going to get along with, but most of them, yes, you do. Just be nice. Be yourself.
It's actually super interesting because, like, you could go to those car meets, and if you go with, like, the sleeper cars, like, you know, you can go with something decent. It doesn't have to be a Lambo, a Ferrari, whatever. I would argue that you'd make more connections that way. Because some people might be scared to talk to you or whatever. Of course, like maybe the richer guys probably won't give you time of day, but you don't know what you don't know, right? I mean, so it's super interesting dynamic.
One thing actually, just to quote you on that one, richer guys. So I was actually thinking, and again, these best ideas come from drinking. For you, for me, it's like just basically laying around in the sun.
Not my best ideas come from drinking, but but sometimes you never know. Sometimes they just hit. Right?
So, yeah, I completely agree with you on that. I was sitting down and I was thinking, okay, if I'm rich at 60 or 70 years old and I pull up to these car meetups, I don't have my youth. I'll have all this money. I have like a big family. But what would I look if I have all this money? I'm visualizing hundreds and 200s, like whatever the sum of money is. I have so many businesses. I'm established. I'm well known. But if I would talk to a young 22-year-old guy, what would I look for in that guy, and why would I give my time of the day to that person? Because there still are people who make it through it. Because one of my mentors, he's in his late 50s, and then
arguably young.
Yeah, I'm still arguably young, but he's like, I have all this money. Like, why would you actually hire me? Not even hire me, but like mentor me in that sense, because as humans, when we are successful, we want to leave what we earned behind and give back to the world somehow. Because once you're in that abundance mindset, right? It's like saying, Someone who is in the middle of a desert, doesn't have water. All he's going to look for is water. He's going to be desperate for it. Same goes for money. But once you have it, once you have so much of it, first of every month, millions of dollars in your bank account appears out of nowhere. You're like, okay, now I have money. I don't have to worry about surviving. I've lived the life. I'm done with cars, done with chicks, done with family life. At that level. How else can I make my life better? Because they don't retire. Entrepreneurs never retire. Never. They have this essence and strong sense of giving back to the world. And if you can prove yourself worthy enough and actually listen to them rather than you speaking and listen to what they have to give, and if that suits you as a young man, which it should, because if you want to get successful, you have to learn from people even if you don't like them. You have to respect them. You get along just fine.
For sure.
That was my personal experience, and I think there's a hack. If you go out there to these car shows and networking events, strike up an on conversation. I'd say maybe I'm told people try.
Yeah, you got a little height advantage there, but
I don't know about that. But it's still like you still need to have some game and finesse, like your ways to it.
You need a. I forgot what the terminology was for it, but for the sake of the example, you need something that sticks out about you. You need something that makes people want to approach you. It could be anything. It could be your height. It could be the way you dress. It could be the way you carry yourself. It could be the car you drive. Anything. Just one thing. Like pick one thing, go out and just have people come to you. I think the dynamic's a little bit better when people come to you.
Right.
Yeah.
Would you say like a person, like a guy has to work his way up to it? Because you can't just step into a networking event or like wherever you socialize if you have no value to give. That's
absolutely true. And I feel like everyone has some degree of value to give. You just got to figure out what that value is. Because everyone has different strengths and weaknesses. We talked about it earlier, right?
Oh,
so
correct.
If you have your own strengths and you double down on your strengths, like people are maybe weak in those areas. For example, mine is credit, right? Like, so it got me in a lot of conversations that I might not necessarily have had if I didn't know anything about credit, right? I don't openly just go out and say, hey, credit this, credit that, right? Like, I don't do that. But when people know what I do or they ask or they get curious or whatever, then I talk about it. I could take an example like first class, right? When I'm sitting in first class, I'm the youngest guy there.
Oh, yeah.
So what the hell does this guy do, right? Like, it's questionable. And I'm in a hoodie, right? Like, everyone's like, all preppy. They have their, their blazers on, suits, whatever. And then I'm just there in a hoodie and a backpack. And they're like, what the hell is this kid doing here?
Dude,
yeah. So I think it's just find one thing you're good at, double down on that, and networking comes easy.
Gotcha. What are some fitness advice that you like to give out to the young audience? Because how can they still travel a lot, still be in shape, eat healthy, and maintain their health and fitness?
I'm a calisthenics athlete, so I would just say calisthenics. I'm biased on that. Like, you don't need weights. I could live. I genuinely just do push-ups, pull-ups, squats. Keep it simple. You could do that anywhere. The world is your gym, right? So I would just say keep it super simple. I feel like a lot of people try to overcomplicate fitness. Oh, I need a gym membership. This gym membership sucks. Like, it's 20 minutes away, and then I got to park. I got to get all my protein. I got to calorie count, like all this stuff. Like, this is too complicated. Just do some push-ups, just like super simple, right? And you could be done in like 5 minutes by the time you go to the gym.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I'm saying? So I think calisthenics probably the best form of workout, especially if you're an entrepreneur. You do it anywhere.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, probably set a goal, 300 to 500 push-ups a day.
Yeah. Or, again, you could turn like an unproductive activity into something productive. So, like, if you play video games for whatever, not knocking video games, you can make significant money doing it now. It's kind of weird, but
yes.
After every game, do a set of push-ups. You could still be productive, still be fit, and still enjoy the video game, right?
Yeah. Same applies to various different things. If you're a video editor and your video is rendering per se, it takes an hour, 2 hours, knowing, because I had my own videos. But yeah, I completely agree with you.
Yeah, and then on top of that, just eat clean. Like, don't be eating fast food all the time, right? So
how do you where do you pick your spots? Like, about how many times do you eat in a day? Like, what do you eat? What do you look for? Like, do you just keep it simple, natural?
I like to test things, right? I think that's just a good philosophy to have, right? So I like to test different, not necessarily diets, but just different methods of eating. Sometimes I have my periods where I fast a lot, where I'll do 16-hour fast. So I'll eat like once or twice a day, but pretty heavy. I eat pretty clean, steak, chicken, a couple greens, a lot of water. keep it simple, and I enjoy on the weekends, like, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But I'm not super strict on it.
You just that's not your main focus. As long as you get workout in, you're eating clean, you're good to go.
Yeah,
Don't overcomplicate out the fucking amount. This
yeah, no, it's
timing.
too complicated. It's like I feel like it's not a good use of time, right? So
Yeah.
like, I mean, I'll even for weeks like I'll just eat bland like ground meat and rice. Like it's boring as hell, but it's just done. I'm done in 10 minutes. Easy to cook, like whatever.
Do you meal prep?
Yeah, I try to meal prep.
Gotcha.
Not so sometimes like I'll be more active than others in other weeks, right? So sometimes I like to order online. I mean, I like my food just sent to me.
Uber Eats, DoorDash.
Uber Eats, DoorDash, whatever. Yeah.
Gotcha.
If I don't have time to meal prep, so for example, if I'm traveling a lot, like sometimes I don't have time to sit there and cook, right? So I find it just a little bit more productive. It's more expensive, but I value my time a little more.
Yeah, as it should be, because imagine the time you put in cooking, and then cleaning, and then eating, and then
it's a waste of time.
Yeah,
man.
so
get a chick that can cook.
They can cook, yeah, but
it's a win-win. You know what I mean? Like they like to cook, you like to eat. So,
but I'm not sure about the toxic ones. They'll give you drama before they fucking actually do.
No, stay away from toxic chicks. I'm over that phase, but.
Well, we're gonna get into the dating segment now, and this is just curious about your personal views on it. Do you believe in the one, or is it just that game for the week? Like, because people actually do have this idea of having the one in their lives. What's your take on that?
I believe there is one person out there that can genuinely enhance your life. Yeah, I believe in that, but I don't think you should actively chase it. I think it goes back to the networking aspect. Like, you don't want to go out there and actively like, oh, I'm trying to marry this chick and like this is the one, and trying to force an interaction that might not necessarily be it. Like, but I do believe, and then right? If you meet that person, you'll know when it comes. But I think there's two sides to it, because everyone that says there's no such thing as the one, they don't have the one, right? But then the people that have the one, they're like, yeah, dude, you'll find them.
Yeah.
So there's two opposing sides to it.
Yeah. Well, but also, like, why does it come down to when a guy is overly committed to the woman? She resists him, but when he puts the purpose on top of the woman wants him bad than anyone else. Like, she wants him bad. Why is that? What do you think is psychology behind it? Because we think if we put more efforts, more hard work, and more investment in any realm of human endeavor, that might be business, fitness, relationships, we get tenfold in return. But with chicks, it's completely opposite. Why do you think that is?
I think it just comes back to nature, right? I think that's inherently what they just want. Like, they want an ambitious individual, someone that could provide security, protection, things like that. And I think most relationships fall apart because the guy will stop doing the things he was doing to get the girl, and then he would change it to try to please the girl. It's different, right? So like,
and then chicks like, you're not the fucking guy that I fucking fucked once.
Yeah, I mean, they'll give you shit for it, like, like, oh, you work too much, this and that. I mean, they'll give you shit, but
I'll take that over like her fucking cheating on me, right?
Yeah, just don't be a fucking simp, right? Like, if you start simping, saying like, oh, I'll buy you whatever, whenever, oh, I'll stop working on my business, then you get fucked in business, and then you lose all the money, then you lose the girl, then you got fat. Like, it's just like, dude, like,
downward spiral.
Downward spiral, and I think it's just things that people don't think about prior to that. It's one of those things that you don't just think about.
Yeah.
Right? You have to be highly aware of it, but I think most people just aren't. It happens all the time.
So there's another curious question from that is, do you think a person should just like get it out of the system when he's young, or he should wait for the one? Because from a religious perspective, yes, makes sense. Why would you wait for the one? But the society that we live in, a person who's desperate, who's never had attention, who never has any game, has never pulled in his life, he just being automatically a simp to that woman. How do you think a person should go by that?
You mean by get it out, like
just have multiple partners and like date around a lot and you're young before you settle for one?
I think it's just, what kind of life do you want to live? Like, I don't think there's something wrong with either or. Like, if you want to wait for a girl, there's no problem. I mean, the people that are, like, banging chicks left and right, they're going to say, like, oh, like, yeah, you need to get with multiple chicks, but the person that's with one chick's like, dude, just stick with one chick, right? Like, so there's just different philosophies, and you just got to see what your preference is.
Well,
Right?
what's your preference in that
Uh,
first one?
I mean, it doesn't matter to me. Like, I mean, I think having one solid chick is better than having a bunch.
Yeah.
But I do feel like if you can attach like a productive action out of it, we kind of touched on it earlier.
Yeah.
Then there's nothing wrong with dating a bunch of chicks. I mean, you learn a lot.
Gotcha.
You learn a lot about people, philosophies.
But wouldn't you say like you learn a lot about chicks if you have dated multiple chicks, and now you know how to face adversity? Because as men, we know how to face adversity by doing a lot of repetitions.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I've seen both sides of it. I've seen like a lot of people that run through chicks, and then they're finally like, oh, I want to settle down, right? And then I've seen people that are like, oh, I've had this significant other for 15 years, and it's a very successful relationship, right? So there's two sides to it. I think that's a conversation that you don't necessarily need to think black and white in. I think people just need to determine what they want out of life. But I agree with the fact that like if you're going to learn a lot about chicks by dating chicks, right? Like that's just how it works, right? But if you're going to stick with one girl, what do you need to learn about other girls for?
True.
Right? Like if that's your one.
Makes sense, yeah.
And you're committed, maybe you're monogamous or whatever, right? Then why go down that path,
Makes sense. Gotcha. Because in my experience, I've dated chicks, as in who have had prior experiences and who haven't had a prior experiences, like, and both of them would pick like somehow like you talk to them in conversations, and even a normal conversation, that both of them would pick someone who has more experience in relationship and how to handle adversity over someone who's waiting for marriage. That's just my experience.
Yeah.
So
yeah, like I said, I think it just depends. It depends who you're dating, what kind of girls you're going after too, right? Like,
right.
so.
Makes sense.
And I don't think you necessarily need to have dated a bunch of girls to offer experiences. Like if you just got a good head on your shoulders, fitness, money's right. It's all the same skill set, right? If you actually think about it, it's all the same skill set. Like you stay consistent, learn the basics. Your mindset will be sharper. Like take care of yourself. Like, and then you apply that to dating. It's the same thing.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
What's your biggest turn off in a girl? Like ick?
Unpolite chicks.
Oh yeah, loud ones.
Not necessarily loud, but just unpolite. Like there's no etiquette, like sense of entitlement. I don't like that.
That's gotcha. Who cheats more, men or women?
Men. I think women are more sneaky about it.
But like, yes,
guys will cheat because they're stupid, right? Girls will cheat with intent. They'll do it to get back.
Gotcha.
And there's more thought put into it. Yeah, so it's two different aspects.
Yeah, guys is like, oh wow.
It's like, dude, I just want to fuck, whatever. Like, so just trying to run through chicks, and then you ask a dude, oh, why did you cheat? He's like, I don't know.
She probably had a nice rack.
You ask a girl why she cheated, and then she'll be like, oh, because this, and this, right? Like, there's just so many.
And yeah, but also there's a litmus test before any. I've talked to like some couples and like man and the woman side of things. Like, why did they cheat? There are always hints that one or the other is not picking before the relationship on the downward spiral. Because chick can be nagging a lot.
Yep.
She'd be shouting a lot. She won't be complying to you and your authority a lot. She's not as intimate physically or emotionally a lot. So that tells you like, okay, something is coming.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not. Maybe she's a finesser. Maybe she's giving you all of that, but she's also have God on the side. So I guess you never know.
You never know.
So
I mean, at the same time, like when you wait for the one, marriage, all that stuff, right? Like you never know.
Oh yeah. Do you believe in marriage? Like a marriage, as in involving the government in a marriage?
I don't believe in the government side. I don't think I don't think they need to be involved, but I do believe in the spiritual side.
Like vows and like, okay, how are you going to take this and the foundation he's setting for a relationship? Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, okay, as a guy, I don't think there's any upside, like a successful guy, there's no upside, in my opinion, to getting married. You're more putting yourself at a risk, right? Yeah. Now, if the girl was there before, when you were broke, your come up, things like that, there's less of a risk there. But like as a successful guy, like let's say you front load all the work, you're not dating, doing all those things. actively trying to find somebody to date to fill that void is going to be a lot more difficult because you could lose a lot more. I think it just depends how you frame it. I kind of listened to something recently with Brad Lee, and he said that he asked a question. I think it was with Myron from Fresh Fit.
Oh, okay.
He said he believes that like if you got divorced and your wife took half your stuff, that she deserved half of it if she was there when you were coming up, because she gave you the motivation to move forward, right? She gave you the motivation to pursue your business goals and things like that. So she deserves half, right? I thought it was an interesting take.
What's your take on that? Do you think a man has to give 50%, or do you think he should give out of not the government's asking for it, not that he's liable to it, but out of, oh, yes, I agree with this statement, because maybe she was a fucking pain in the ass when she was with him.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's dependent on the relationship. I genuinely feel like the girls that do that'll take like half your wealth is like, there was something spiteful going on there. There was something not connecting in the relationship, and then it just becomes like, it becomes a war, you know what I mean? But like, you've seen civil divorces. I'll take care of you, I'll take care of the kids, like whatever, yeah.
But I think it's healthy for us to maintain, even being the parents of the kids, to actually separate and get.
Yeah, I mean, like, let's assume kids aren't even in the picture, right? Like, I think that's more out of spite that something did not click there, where it became a battle. You know what I mean? But I feel like you can genuinely just be like, oh, we're gonna go our separate ways. Okay, cool. Like, I'll still take care of you, whatever. Thanks. You know what I mean? So I think there's more to those stories, because any guy that I've seen that's been taken for half a shit, it's fuck you, like this and that. Something went on, right? Yeah. So
makes sense. Who lies more in the talking stage, a man or a woman?
Man or a woman? Women.
The most sneaky about it. We touched on that. Especially they are also trained not to be in a confrontation. So they do and say the best things that they can to avoid confrontation and actually get into an argument initially, because they don't know you enough.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can even go deeper on that, like with social media, right? Like, they're posting their best pictures, all their makeup's done, you know, like they're not posting certain aspects of the trips that they've been on or whatever. Guys, like, you go to a guy's Instagram, it's all bullshit, right? It's like, here's my food, or here's my dog, or some shit, right? Like, most guys. Yeah. Right? So, like, they're kind of a little bit more authentic on the social media aspect, but girls are just straight posting stuff that's, like, not necessarily them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I completely agree with it. It's like catfishing.
Yeah, to a degree. And again, like, dating's kind of weird, because, like, when you go on the first date, like, everyone's just trying to be their best selves to, like, make sure that, you know, like, the dude's trying to get laid, the girl's trying to not look like a dickhead. Like, I mean, there's just so many things going on. It's all dating in itself, I think, is not a pure connection.
What is then?
Something just naturally happening. I think, like,
what would you define naturally happening as, in like a scenario?
Like, you just start, like, hanging out, like, you actually just go out, or like maybe you meet with friends or something or whatever, and then you just go out and you're like, I actually kind of like this girl. You know, one thing just leads to another. I think that's more of a genuine connection.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But, like, the actual act of dating, I think it's all bullshit. Someone's trying to, like, look better than they actually are on both ends.
Definitely. I think, and you don't find and take the cover off the relationship, as in, like, whatever you're building, and I think around 3 to 6 month mark.
Yeah. When you can't maintain the lie.
Nah.
That's why you just don't lie. Just be straight up, transparent about it. Yeah.
I mean, you can get laid, but
is it worth it? Probably. I don't know.
If that's what you want,
Yeah.
Would you say you like a woman with a good taste or a good past?
Good past. Good upbringing.
Gotcha. Yeah. And how important is her connection to her dad or her mum in that sense? Because she's going to copy what her mum does, the way she dresses, because I've seen, like, how in the US, like, parents, they give freedom to the kids to do whatever the fuck they want, but then they would complain when they grow up in their 30s, have too many tattoos, and they just dress a certain way, live a certain lifestyle. Is because you told them it was okay to begin with. You planted the seed, now it's blossomed into a whole tree, and now you don't want that anymore for your kids, but you can't do anything to stop it. Yeah. So I agree with that one. How important is for a woman to have a good relationship with her dad?
I think it's important. I think there should be a family unit. I think it's because if you're trying to start life with this woman, right, then those traits might go into your kids, right? So like, let's say you have a daughter,
Yeah.
then she might think it's okay to not have a good relationship with you, right?
Yeah.
So I think it just depends what you want out of the relationship.
Gotcha. Would you rather marry your dream girl and be average forever, or stay single and rich with options?
Single and rich, for sure.
I definitely with you on that one, because I cannot do that. I cannot do that. I cannot never imagine myself being average.
I think you just failed your duty as a man, like to not be able to provide for your chick, right?
Right. Yeah.
So I genuinely just think it'd be better off to not get involved in that, right? You're doing her a disservice.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know dudes in their 40s. My God, the whole personality of them is their chick. Basically, that's their best friend, the fucking main. The companion for life, and all they do is post where they hang out with, what are they eating, what are they drinking. I'm like, dude, fuck, come on. Just,
Hey man, if that's what you're into, that's what you're into.
But but again, is that the existence you want to be known for?
So I agree with that, but my sense is if you're doing all those things, like you're trying to provide and you're simping to the chick and all that, but you're complaining, obviously you don't want to do all those things. But if you're not complaining, if you genuinely want to do this, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Right?
One other thing I realized by complaining is spiritual side of it. When you just don't complain, I don't think the negativity can leach onto you. It's like when you complain about negative things and how helpless you are and how you are so powerless in the situation, and then you say to your friend or significant other and you share it down, you bring that seed of thought into life.
Right.
And then you give it a life, a face, something to be acknowledged. What if you just don't acknowledge it?
Sure.
But you can share it in a way that use the right words, because words definitely have a lot of effect on our subconscious. But if you can phrase it in a way that, okay, it's a setback, but I'm sure something's coming. So we just look for its instantaneous solution rather than moaning and bitching about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
So a very stoic approach I learned from the book Meditations from Marcus Aurelius.
Yeah, it's better that way. Negative energy is sticky. It'll mess you up more than you know.
Yeah, I just don't want people around me who are negative. And people are like, you're a fucking arrogant piece of shit. I'm like, okay, I'll rather be that than be in your fucking friend group and talk about what? Taylor Swift?
Well, there's that. It's funny because everyone's like, always be humble. I actually posted something about this recently, but a lot of people say, oh, be humble, but it's like fake humble shit. Like you need something to be humble about, right? So it's kind of ironic, but arrogant people are actually more humble than humble people.
Yes.
Yeah, because humility is actually listening to somebody that has what you want and you know you don't have it. Right? Arrogant is knowing like, okay, I got this, but like you also need to know when to shut up, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's just funny because most humble people, they don't have shit to show for it.
But I had a cigar. You're so
in tune to the podcast,
into the information and the value that you're providing for me and my audience. It's a pleasure to have you.
I'm happy to help. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much. And guys, come on, do what you're supposed to do. You guys know every YouTuber comes out and say like, comment, share. I'm not gonna ask you to do it. Just do it. If you like the content, I'm sure you'll just automatically have done it by now. Turn on the notification ring bell by now. And if you haven't, oh well, stay broken. Stay misinformed. Go to your girlfriend. What? Drink coffee. Talk about teddy bears, Taylor Swift. Or you can actually come out onto this channel and consume real content. The content that would actually improve your life for good. And make sure to check out Trey's information, his Instagram, his services on WAP. Be a private member. Actually learn and hack into the credit system. Because this information, you're not going to find it anywhere. No book. Nothing, nowhere. This not even on ChatGPT. I looked up. Who has it? Trey has it. So, thank you very much.